Hello and welcome back to my vlog, Essays on the Constitution of the United States, Part 10, Cassius 8, Part 2. Section 3rd of the new Constitution says each state shall choose 2 senators, etc. The liberality of this clause is sufficient, any reasonable person would suppose, to damp all opposition. Can anything be more consistent with the strictest principles of republicanism? Each state is hereupon an equal footing, for the House of Representatives can of themselves do nothing without the concurrence of the Senate. The 3rd section further provides that the Senate shall choose their own officers. This is so congenial with the Constitution of our own state that I need not advance any argument to induce the free citizens of Massachusetts to approbate it. And those who oppose this part of the federal plan act in direct opposition to what the anti-federalists often profess, for the excellency of our Constitution has been their favorite theme. The 3rd section also provides that the Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. This clause seems to be peculiarly obnoxious to anti-federal sycophants. They have declared it to be arbitrary and tyrannical in the highest degree. But, fellow citizens, your own good sense will lead you to see the folly and weakness contained in such assertions. You have experienced the tyranny of such a government that under which you now live is an exact model of it. In Massachusetts, the House of Representatives impeach and the Senate try the offender. That part of the proposed form of government, which is to be styled the Senate, will not have it in their power to try any person without the consent of 2/3 of the members. In this respect, therefore, the new Constitution is not more arbitrary than the Constitution of this state. This clause does not, therefore, savor in the least of anything more arbitrary than what has already been experienced, so that the horrors the anti-federal junto pretend to anticipate on that head must sink into nothing. Besides, when the House of Representatives have impeached and the Senate tried any one and found him guilty of the offense for which he is impeached, they can only disqualify him from holding any office of power and trust in the United States. And after that, he comes within the jurisdiction of the law of the land. How such a proceeding can be called arbitrary or thought improper, I cannot conceive. I leave it to the gentlemen in opposition to point out the tyranny of such conduct and explain the horrid tendency it will have for the government of the United States to determine whether any one or more of their own body are worthy to continue in the station to which they were elected. Another clause, which the anti-federal junto labor to prove to be arbitrary and tyrannical, is contained in the 4th section, which provides that the time and place for electing senators and representatives shall be appointed by the different state legislatures, except Congress shall at any time make a law to alter such regulation in regard to the place of choosing representatives. The former part of this clause gives not the least opportunity for a display of anti-federal scandal, and the latter, only by misrepresentation and false construction, is by them made a handle of. What is intended by saying that Congress shall have power to appoint the place for electing representatives is only to have a check upon the legislature of any state if they should happen to be composed of villains and knaves, as is the case in a sister state, and should take upon themselves to appoint a place for choosing delegates to send to Congress, which place might be the most inconvenient in the whole state, and for that reason be appointed by the legislature, in order to create a disgust in the minds of the people against the federal government, if they themselves should dislike it. The weakness of their arguments on this head must therefore be obvious to every attentive mind. There is one thing, however, which I might mention as a reason why the opposition junto dread the clause aforementioned. They may suppose that Congress, when the people are assembled for the choice of their rulers in the place they have appointed, will send their terrible standing army, which I shall speak of in its place, and, Caesar Borgia-like, massacre the whole in order to render themselves absolute. This is so similar to many of the apprehensions they have expressed that I could not pass it by unnoticed. Indeed, the chief of their productions abound with improbabilities and absurdities of the like kind, for having nothing reasonable to allege against a government founded on the principles of staunch republicanism, and which, if well supported, will establish the glory and happiness of our country. They resort to things the most strange and fallacious, in order to blind the eyes of the unsuspecting and misinformed. Cassius. Interesting. Wonder what he would think were he alive today. Make it a great day, and bye for now.